What's up everyone, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be doing a tournament breakdown for Rocky Point in the IBF. So July 13th we headed to Rocky Point, which is the Ohio River, and fished the fourth of 6 IBF qualifying events. And this was a really hot tournament. I think it was like, I don't know, it was extremely hot. It was like 90 degrees every day, and there was some pop-up showers and stuff, cooled it off a little bit, but you had to drink a lot of water, stay hydrated. It was really a really hot tournament, but the water temperature was anywhere from like 85 to 87 degrees in the morning. And then in the afternoons, like some of the stagnant creeks that didn't have a whole lot of water flow and stuff, I was seeing like 93-degree water temps, which is crazy. I've seen some really high water temps, but that's probably some of the highest I've ever seen. So like I said, it was extremely hot. The fish were biting pretty good, but nothing like they were about a month ago, whenever a lot of those fish were up spawning and stuff like that. But basically in practice I tried to mess around a little bit on the main river and mess around a little bit in the creeks. The main river bite was actually really good. At the beginning of practice there was a mayfly hatch, and a lot of the largemouth were on the main river, and it was actually really good. The short amounts of time that I fished on the main river, I caught a lot of keepers, and thought it really had a lot of potential. Normally I end up fishing in the creeks, but this particular tournament, with the practice and stuff that I had, it seemed like the main river might actually play a little bit. But anyway, so I fished a few creeks, fished the main river, got some bites in the creek. I went way up one creek the second day and got a lot of bites in practice, and really thought that I'd be able to go up there and catch some fish. So I really didn't have a good tournament. It kind of messed me up that I had fish in different areas, and it kind of pulled me in different directions, and I didn't really make the right decisions at the right time. I should have picked one area, or I should have, I don't know, I basically was zigging instead of zagging, and it ended up biting me really bad. Basically the day started out, I started right by takeoff and fished a little main river spot. And actually first cast, I cast it out there, and I always try to make like a random cast that doesn't count and reel it in real quick, because you never want to catch one on your first cast. So I made a cast, I started reeling in real quick, and one hit it and ate the pinchers off my bait. And that's pretty much how my day started. And then after that we caught some shorts off of that point, but never ended up catching a keeper. Fished a few more main river spots. I think we spent like 45 minutes to an hour out there. Caught a decent amount of shorts. Like I said, the mayfly hatch, it seemed like it slowed down every day that I was there. And I don't know if it was the weather and storms and stuff, or if it was basically over. I'm not really sure. I'm not really a mayfly hatch expert, but it seemed like it definitely slowed down, and for me the fishing kind of slowed down. So I fished first 45 minutes to an hour on the main river and never caught a keeper. It didn't really feel right. So I decided to head up the creek and go way up the creek to see if I could catch some of those fish that I was targeting around stumps and woods like that. But when I got up there, it really wasn't that great. I kind of thought the further I'd get up in there, the better it would get. It never really was as good as it was the day before, which tends to happen. It's tournament day, the fish know it, they know not to bite. But I caught one keeper on the way in, and then got into the area that I wanted to, and never really got a bite until like the end of that stretch, and ended up actually catching a pond fish with while I was peeing. I was peeing and I flipped out there and still had my pants down and set the hook into this pond fish or grinnell, and ended up boat flipping into the boat. So if you might need to check that out, it's pretty funny. Definitely fishing was a lot slower once I got up there. I caught That first one flipping a Texas rig, and then my second bite I caught flipping another Texas rig on a stump, on a big stump. It just kind of bit it, swam off, set the hook, caught him. But my co-angler ended up getting very dehydrated. I think he was dehydrated at the beginning of the day, and he tried drinking a lot of water. I had like 15 waters in the boat, and he drank a bunch of them, and never really felt quite right. We ended up finding Chad Moore, and luckily he had some liquid IV in his boat, so we poured one of those in the water, and it helped him a little bit, but he still wasn't feeling right, and it's never really worth risking like a heat stroke or something like that over some fish. But it's not really worth having like a heat stroke and not being able to go fishing again in the future. It's more important to be safe and play it safe. So he decided that he was ready for me to head back to the dock. We fished a few more, probably another hour in there before we headed back to the dock, and dropped him off. And after I dropped him off, I never caught another keeper. Actually, in that hour that I was talking about, I ended up catching another one on a buzzbait. So I caught 3 keepers, and then, like I said, after I dropped him off, I never caught another keeper. I actually went out to the main river, and mostly because it was really slow up the creek, and when him and I were up there, it just didn't feel right either. So I went out to the main river to try and change the way the day was going, and hopefully catch some more fish. And that really didn't work either. I had a few followers, but nothing connected. And I quickly went back into the creek and had a few like bluegill bites, or just bites where I'd flip in there and I'd set the hook, and all I'd get back was my weight and my hook. And not sure if those were bass or if those were bluegill, but the fishing just didn't go right after I dropped him off. I really should have went back to where I was fishing, because I had the rest of the day to catch 2 fish, and I kind of screwed up. It was my fault that I went and fished the main river, then fished a different creek, and it just never worked out for me. But the fish that I did catch, I caught those 2, like I said, flipping, and those were on a Zoom speed crawl. This is a green pumpkin Zoom speed crawl, and I pegged a 1/4 ounce TMO tackle weight. It's a TMO tungsten weight. It's just a flipping weight that is a 1/4 ounce. I pegged it, and if you go on their website and type in the coupon code NICK, all caps, and then 10, you can get a 10% discount on those. But I was flipping that Texas rig with a 3/0 Gamakatsu heavy. It's a finesse heavy cover flipping hook, and it's a little bit thinner of a hook. And I think some of those fish on the river where they're like 12-inch fish, sometimes I think that smaller hook allows them to get it in their mouth a little bit better. So I flipped that with some really heavy line, but I still haven't had any bend out or anything from hook sets, so it ends up working out for me. But like I said, 1/4 ounce TMO tackle, tungsten weight with a green pumpkin Zoom speed crawl, 3/0 Gamakatsu finesse heavy cover, and I pegged that so that it can get down into some of those limbs and stuff. And I threw that on a Lew's custom light reel. It's a 7:5 to 1 gear ratio, and then a 7'3" medium heavy. It's the Magnum jig rod. That rod works pretty good. It's not as stiff as like some of the other rods that I'll throw when I'm flipping, but whenever I set the hook on some of them smaller fish in that heavy cover, it doesn't automatically just shoot them into the outer space. Sometimes when I set the hook on some of them, they just go flying. So, but 20-pound Berkeley fluorocarbon, and just flip that around all those stumps and let it fall on a slack line, and just wait for those fish to pick it up. A lot of times they'll hit it on slack while it's falling, and you'll just see your line jump, or they'll just start swimming off real slow, and that's when it's time to set the hook. And then, like I said, I caught one of the keepers. My last keeper actually was on a Big Tails naked buzzbait. So it's just Big Tails is a tackle shop in Tell City, right there on the Ohio River, and they make buzzbaits, spinnerbaits, stuff like that. And they're really good buzzbaits, really good spinnerbaits for throwing on the Ohio River. So this is just a 1/4 ounce version, and it's the naked one, which means it comes without the skirt. It's got a gold blade, and then I put a Zoom speed crawl on there in just a black and blue color, and threw that around pads, stumps, anything that looked like it was fishy and would possibly be holding a fish. So that's pretty much how I caught my fish. I ended up with 3 fish for 3.12 pounds and finished like 50th out of 65 people. So not very good at all. Ended up in moving down to 8th place, which I'm not very happy about in the points, but Blake's still leading it by probably 20 points. So hopefully he can get it done, and hopefully we can keep moving up as the year goes on. But thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.